We want to warn viewers that some may find the details in this report disturbing.
Like, honestly, if Kevin Gates and Dreka broke up, I'm done.
Kevin Gates normalized an open marriage and then cried in a rap song when his wife followed in his footsteps. Make it make sense.
What if I told you that the people that you love the most weren't sent here to love you? They were sent here to destroy the version of you that is keeping you small. And every day that you stay loyal to a bond that a soul has already fired, you are not being loyal. You are committing spiritual suicide. Now, Dreka and Kevin Gates, you think you know what happened, but you don't. And if you're not careful, you will end up just like them or worse. In this video, I'm going to show you why love can expire even when it feels perfect, and how loyalty without evolution bankrupts your destiny. Why the people you are clinging to might just be your karmic keys assigned to you to help you with your ascension. And stay to the end, because what's about to be revealed could save you from expired bonds that will bleed your frequency dry. If this transmission is hitting a nerve, it's not random, it's frequency. This channel isn't content, it's code. And before we dive deeper, our current goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers. And we notice over 80% of you guys have not yet subscribed. So if you're here to rise, rebuild, and rewire the story, then hit that subscribe button. That one move can help us shift someone else's entire reality. Live the code, be the law. Let's not lie to ourselves. When Kevin and Dreka split, the internet caught fire. Kevin fumbled the bag. She built him and now he cheated. Dreka switched up, started moving funny once he hit fame. Oh, Kevin was ungrateful. She was calculated. She knew what she was doing. Everybody has a story about what's going on. Everybody has a side. Everybody wants to pick one of them to be the villain. But I'll pose a question. Maybe they both was playing roles in a script that was never written by them. You see, this is bigger than loyalty, bigger than betrayal, bigger than cheating, clout, or falling out of love. This was a frequency collapse. Kevin and Dreka weren't just another relationship gold headline. They were a spiritual contract playing out in front of millions. Teen love turned to business partners. Partners turned to co-builders. Co-builders turned to co-conspirators in each other's destiny. But spirit law has its clause nobody talks about. Once that assignment is complete, the contract dissolves. Not in court, but in vibration. Some relationships have an expiration date embedded in them from day one. Written, not in wedding vows, but in frequency codes. You see, Dreka, she went inward. Crystals, animals, healing the soil. He went outward. Stage, crowds, fame, momentum. We have alignment versus ambition. Stillness versus speed. Frequency versus fame. Two people, one bond. Two completely different timelines. And when the timelines split, reality itself started to glitch. You argue more. You feel unseen. You outgrow the conversation. You can't explain it, but something feels like it's dying in silence. This wasn't about cheating. It was about evolution. What looks like betrayal in this 3D world is often graduation in the 5D world. But the world prefers the drama, the mess, the scandals, the blame. But if they told you the truth, if they told you that love can be expired without sin, you might start to question all the expired bonds you are still holding on to. Are you loyal to love? Or are you loyal to the version of you that doesn't even exist anymore? Kevin and Dreka, they didn't lose love. They lost residence. They lost alignment. They lost access to the frequency field that made their bond magnetic. But hold on, this is where it gets deep. What if their breakup wasn't even a failure? What if it was all a design? Think about it. Two young souls, trauma bonded, successfully fused, identities entwined. But at some point, a choice had to be made. To stay loyal to the past version of themselves, or answer the call to phase into a new reality? What if Kevin and Dreka was never meant to be forever? What if they were only meant to ignite each other? Because not every connection is about completion. Some are about activation. Maybe they were never born lovers. Maybe they were keys, but not just any keys, karmic keys, sent to unlock hidden dimensions inside of each other. Dimensions that only emerge through pain, through loss. And this is the part they never teach you. Every decision you make, every habit that you repeat, every heartbreak that you survive, phases you into a new reality. Some call this quantum jumping. And no, not metaphorically, literally, energetically. You are a time jumping version of yourself. With every yes you whisper, with every no you swallow. And sometimes the people you thought you would die with, they don't leave. They just can't phase into the timeline where your soul sits now. But hold on, keep watching, because if you think they were complicated, wait until you realize how many karmic keys you already met and mistook for forever. So you thought karmic keys were about love? No, they're about phases. They're not tied to the faces you loved. They're tied to the frequencies you were tapped into. What if Dreka was Kevin's karmic key, but was never sent to marry him? What if she was sent to ignite him, to build him, to elevate him, and then vanish once the assignment was done? What if Kevin was Dreka's karmic key, was never sent to protect Dreka, but to polarize her in a dimension of herself she never would have accessed alone? Not lovers, not soulmates, karmic key assignments. Karmic keys are coded and designed to fit and unlock specific timelines and versions of you. Every karmic key is tied to a specific frequency, a special lesson, a specific timeline. When that key enters your life, it unlocks doors that you couldn't open by yourself. Not because you wasn't ready to walk through it, but because you didn't yet have the energetic signature to access it. Every time you evolve, that lock, it changes. That door, it updates. That mission, it upgrades. New timeline, new door, new locks. Quantum physics says reality is built on the probability fields. Endless versions of you waiting to collapse into existence. Every decision collapses into a version of you. And each one of those births another. Neurology says the same. The brain doesn't just heal, your brain literally rewires after trauma, heartbreak, betrayal. New neural pathways, new synapses, new identity, new energetic signatures. Suddenly, you are no longer operating from who you were. You are operating from who you just became. That's how karmic keys work. They don't just walk through the door, they unlock it, forcing you to decide. Will you step into that new you? Will you step into that new timeline? But none of it activates until the key turns, until that karmic assignment is complete. This is why those relationships feel like the cosmos. You know, that unexplainable, that fate, because they are. That person didn't just break your heart, they collapsed your timeline. They disrupted your frequency just enough to push you outside of that current version of yourself where you were settling, shrinking, sleepwalking, and in their wake, in their present, you time jumped, you evolved, and phased into a new version of you. But that key can't follow. They come with a spiritual countdown. And when the shift happens, the lock changes, the address switches, the mission upgrades, and that key no longer fits. This is where most people have the hardest time because they destroyed themselves. They try to force expired keys into future doors. They twist them, they turn them, they bend them. They try to force them to work. But here's the danger no one talks about. Keep a key for too long in any environment it no longer belongs in, and it doesn't just stop working, it starts rusting. Minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. What once was sharp loses its edge. What once was a perfect fit becomes unrecognizable. Rust isn't just decay, it's a sign that something stayed where it was never meant to be for too long, and where it was never meant to remain. Karmic keys are not designed for the motion, not permanency. They're built for ignition, not imprisonment. When you force a key to stay past its mission, you both rot from the inside out. But here's where it gets a little deeper. Some karmic keys are special. Some are built to be multi-dimensional, able to grow with you if you knew how to align with their evolution. But most people, that's not the case. They don't recognize the upgrade. They don't study the new lock. They don't calibrate in a certain way to hold the key. Instead, they keep jamming the key in the same old way, doing the same thing in the same way, expecting something different to happen. Out of habit, out of ignorance. And in the process, not only do they damage themselves, they damage the key. They strip the edges. You're not just breaking the connection, you're destroying the frequency tool that was assigned to unlock multiple dimensions for your evolution, potentially across multi-lifetimes, layers and timelines. You don't just lose the person, you sabotage your own mission. When you corrupting a divine tool out of your own ignorance, that person wasn't toxic. The love wasn't broken. You just never learned how to hold it, because some keys are sacred. And if you mishandle them, the damage is deeper than just a heartbreak. This is where trauma and energetic contamination begins. It doesn't just destroy the key, it destroys the lock. And if the lock breaks, the door to your destiny becomes unsustainable. The lock is your heart, the door is your mind, the house is the future. You think holding on is strength. Sometimes it's spiritual suicide, because here's what they don't tell you. Karmic keys are time sensitive. Miss the shift and the bond turns out toxic. You don't just outgrow them, you start paying for staying. Not in cash, not in pride, in energy. But keep watching, because in this next few minutes, you're gonna find out what really happens when you stay loyal to someone your soul already fired. And trust me, the debt you are stacking up is way worse than that heartbreak. Let's stop lying to ourselves. Love courses, and staying past its due date bankrupts your evolution. Kevin and Dreka, they figured that out. Quietly, they phased out clean. But not everybody gets out so clean, right? Look at Remy Ma, Pat Poose. Years of loyalty, years of forgiveness. He held her down when she was locked down during her prison sentence. She stood by him through the struggle. They didn't just live their love story, they branded it. Everywhere, the streets crowned them the black love royalty. They sold the dream that black love could survive anything. Loyalty, forgiveness, unity. They became the face of lasting love for the culture. They became the face of lasting love for a culture starving for hope. But fast forward, and now, what do we have? The cheating rumors, the sneaking around, public disrespect.
Come on.
What's going on?
Woo!
Oh, I'm never posting nothing because people don't understand. When I type shit out and when I write shit, they don't understand. I am live as we speak. When I type things in, people don't understand. Turn that camera on, ugly, and tell your lies. Don't type your lies. Tell them. Speak. While people talking to you and you reading comments, you can't keep up with them if you do that, right? I'll wait. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Not yesterday. I was laid up yesterday. Was I not laid up? Were we not laid up? Oh. What? Ew. I don't even like the cologne you wear. It's gross. Ew.
Remy Ma and Pat Poose, two people who once embodied strength, now airing each other's deepest, darkest secrets out on the web, like enemies of war. They didn't just fall apart, they became an embarrassment to everything they once stood for, the image they built, the legacy they talked about and they walked for them couple of years, the imprint that they tried to leave on us, all dismantled in real time, under the same spotlight which once controlled them. But here's what nobody's ready to admit. They branded an image of black love, but did they ever do the work of black love? The shadow work, the uncomfortable conversations, the mutual evolution. But maybe Remy and Pap weren't protecting each other. Maybe it wasn't even about loyalty the whole time. Maybe it was about fear of letting go of something that they once identified with. But yeah, they knew how to hold it together. For all we know, what we are witnessing today is exactly what needed to happen for their individual evolution. I don't care how many followers you have, how many magazine covers you pose for, or how many interviews you do. You can't outbrand frequency. Loyalty past the point of evolution isn't love, it's spiritual depth. You think you're being faithful, but really, you're stacking interest on a bond your soul already sold off. You see, everything is energy. Relationships are energetic contracts. They come with the terms, conditions, and most importantly, an expiration date. Stay past that deadline and you start to bleed currency. And you can't afford to lose your peace, your power, your future. Every fight you force, every apology you fake, every boundary you betray yourself to maintain adds to the depth. Until one day you're broke, not financially, but spiritually. Spiritually drained, energetically bankrupt. You didn't lose them, you lost yourself. The longer you stay past the due date, the more the bond turns toxic. What started as devotion leaks out as resentment. A house that once embodied unconditional love now turns into energetic foreclosure. Think about it. You don't pay your mortgage, they take your house. You don't respect your spiritual contract, the universe repossesses your peace, your joy, your destiny. Loyalty without alignment becomes a liability. Now that you know the truth, what expired bonds are you still financing? What karmic keys have you been forcing to unlock that no longer exist? And deeper than that, how many karmic keys have you misused? How many karmic keys were sent to unlock you, but you destroyed them because you wasn't ready to evolve, so you resisted them? Drop it in the comments. And if this transmission hits your frequency and cracks something open inside you, then share it, because somebody you know is still paying this debt on a relationship that their soul has already foreclosed on. And if you thought that was deep, wait until the next drop. Don't just watch the code, live the code, be the law.